Bear Bailey has one problem that seems painfully ordinary. He is in love with Nikki Freeman, his childhood friend and co-worker at a small music store. Nikki trusts him, jokes with him, and has been there during some of the worst moments of his life. Bear wants more. He also wants the universe to do the difficult part for him. That is where Curry Barker's obsession begins. Not with a monster, but with a man who would rather rewrite another person's feelings than risk hearing no. Bear's friend Ian keeps encouraging him to confess. Bear practices what he might say, rehearses the moment, and still collapses whenever Nikki is actually standing in front of him. His hesitation might look harmless, but it hides something more dangerous. Bear does not simply want a chance with Nikki, he wants certainty. Then his cat, Sandy, dies after getting into a bottle of oxycodone. Bear is devastated, guilty, and emotionally raw. Around the same time, Nikki loses a crystal necklace she cares about, so Bear visits a mystical supply shop to find her a replacement. Instead, the clerk shows him a cheap novelty object called the One Wish Willow. The instructions are suspiciously simple. Break it, make one wish, and receive exactly what you asked for. A normal person might notice that supernatural customer service rarely includes refunds. Bear buys it anyway. That night, the friends meet for trivia. Bear again tries to work up the courage to tell Nikki how he feels. He fails. Later, while he is driving her home, Nikki gives him one final opening by directly asking whether he likes her. Bear panics and denies it. Once he is alone, embarrassment turns into resentment. He breaks the One Wish Willow and wishes for Nikki to love him more than anyone else in the world. The magic works immediately. Nikki appears at Bear's home in the middle of the night, staring at him while he sleeps. She is affectionate, desperate, and already behaving as though they share a relationship that never existed. Bear is frightened for approximately 5 minutes. Then he realizes Nikki wants him, and his concern becomes surprisingly flexible. At first, he enjoys the result. Nikki kisses him, clings to him, and gives him the validation he was too afraid to seek honestly. Bear treats the wish like an unexpected romantic shortcut. But Nikki's love has no boundaries because Bear's wish did not include any. She becomes terrified whenever he leaves. She seals the door to stop him from going to work. When he escapes, she remains standing where he left her for hours, smiling through physical distress as though her entire existence has paused without him. This is not affection, it is a command wearing Nikki's face. At work, Ian and Sarah immediately sense that something is wrong. Nikki has gone from treating Bear as a close friend to behaving like he is the only living object in the room. Bear makes excuses because admitting the truth would require admitting that he caused it. Then lunch arrives. Nikki has prepared food for Bear using the remains of his dead cat. This is the moment when even Bear's denial begins requesting emergency leave. He calls the customer service number connected to the One Wish Willow and asks how to reverse the wish. The voice on the line calmly explains that the wish ends only when the person who made it dies. Bear also asks whether Nikki's love is real. The answer is deliberately cruel. He chose this version of her, so the feelings are real within the reality he created. Then the call connects him to something else. Bear hears the real Nikki screaming. The wish has not merely changed Nikki's personality, it has buried her beneath a supernatural replacement built from Bear's desire. Her body is present, but the person inside it is trapped, conscious, and unable to control what the obsessed version does. Bear now knows the truth. He also knows the escape condition. He does not kill himself. He does not even immediately tell the others. He keeps trying to manage the situation because some part of him still wants the relationship the wish manufactured. At Ian's house, the friend group gathers for a drinking game. Nikki's behavior becomes increasingly unstable. She tells a grotesque version of a familiar fairy tale, reacts violently to anything that threatens her bond with Bear, and briefly seems to fight against herself. The real Nikki surfaces in flashes, terrified and begging to be released, before the obsessive personality takes control again. During the game, Bear receives a dare involving Sarah. Nikki interprets even the possibility of contact as betrayal. Her jealousy is not emotional anymore. It is mechanical. The wish demands that Bear remain the center of her universe, and anything orbiting too close becomes a threat. Later, Bear tries to leave while Nikki sleeps. In a small, frightened voice, the real Nikki speaks from inside her own body. She begs Bear to kill her and end what is happening. He refuses. This is the point where Bear can no longer pretend he is only a victim. The monster exists because of his wish, and the real Nikki is asking him to stop it. But Bear still cannot accept a solution that requires him to lose her completely. Meanwhile, Sarah becomes increasingly suspicious of the relationship. She sees Nikki's instability and begins to understand that Bear is hiding something. Sarah also suggests that she may have feelings for Bear herself, creating the exact situation the wish was designed to destroy. Nikki attacks through Sarah's car window. She drags Sarah into a brutal struggle and kills her by smashing her head against brick. Bear witnesses the violence and freezes. Nikki then sends him home while she deals with the body, as casually as someone offering to clean up after dinner. Bear finally returns to the mystical shop and buys every remaining one-wish Willow. His plan is to make a second wish that cancels the first. There is one problem: a person only gets one wish. Bear cannot break another Willow. He takes the charms to Ian and explains everything. Ian assumes Bear has finally reached a new level of panic-driven nonsense. To prove the toys are fake, Ian breaks one and sarcastically wishes for $1 billion. Money begins raining from the ceiling. Ian has just confirmed that the magic is real and used his one chance to create the world's most inconvenient indoor banking system. Bear takes the last Willow home, hoping Nikki can use it to undo the curse. Instead, he finds Sarah's mutilated corpse arranged inside the house. Nikki has dressed herself in Sarah's clothes and altered her appearance to imitate the woman she believes Bear wanted. She is no longer trying to remove competition, she is trying to become it. Ian arrives, and Nikki shoots him in the head before he can help. His $1 billion have achieved an impressive return of approximately 0 additional minutes of life. Bear retreats into the bathroom with the gun. At last, he understands that his death is the only reliable way to end the wish. He places the weapon against his head but cannot pull the trigger. Instead, he swallows the remaining oxycodone, the same medication that killed Sandy at the beginning. Then he panics. Bear tries to vomit the pills back up. Even after Sarah and Ian are dead, even after the real Nikki has begged for freedom, his final act is not a clean sacrifice. He wants to escape the curse, but he still does not want to pay the price. Outside the bathroom, Nikki discovers the final one-wish Willow. She breaks it and makes her own wish. Bear will love her with the same absolute intensity that she loves him. The spell takes hold. Bear stops trying to save himself. He opens the door, sees Nikki, and instantly becomes the devoted partner he once forced her to become. For one brief moment, the two of them are perfectly matched. Then the pills take effect. Bear collapses and dies in Nikki's arms. His death breaks the original wish. The obsessive personality disappears, and the real Nikki returns to control of her body. She wakes surrounded by the corpses of Sarah and Ian, with Bear dead at her feet and blood covering the life she never chose. She remembers enough to understand that something terrible has happened, but she has been denied the one thing Bear wanted for himself from the beginning: control. That is the final cruelty of obsession. Bear wished to avoid rejection, uncertainty, and emotional pain. He received complete devotion instead, but love without choice became imprisonment. Nikki was trapped inside her own body, their friends were murdered, and Bear ultimately experienced the same violation he inflicted on her. For a few seconds, he finally loved Nikki exactly as much as he demanded she love him. And it killed him before he could regret it.